Jack was a man who had seen the world in shades of both joy and struggle. At 50 years old, he was a father, a mentor, and a cornerstone of his community. A tall, broad-shouldered man, Jack had earned respect through hard work and a quiet strength. His hands, rough from years of labor, held the memories of countless challenges. Born in a time when segregation still clung to the edges of society, Jack had always known what it meant to walk the line between to walk a mile. Over the years, he'd endured casual slights, hostile stares, and the unspoken but ever-present weight of being a black man in America. It wasn't always overt, but it was there, constantly lurking. Yet, despite all of that, Jack had managed to build a life of stability and pride for himself and his family. He lived by the code that his late father had taught him: don't let them break you. One warm summer afternoon, Jack found himself downtown, running errands after a long shift at the plant. As he exited a local grocery store, his attention was drawn to the sound of tires screeching in a crash nearby. A small crowd began to gather at the corner, and Jack walked over to see what had happened. A white woman, disoriented and visibly shaken, was standing beside her car, which had just been hit by another vehicle. The driver of the other car had sped off, leaving her to deal with the aftermath. She clutched her purse tightly, panic evident in her eyes, and as she scanned the crowd for help, she locked eyes with Jack. Her name was Sarah, though Jack wouldn't know that until later. At that moment, all he saw was a woman in distress. But old memories surfaced. Jack thought back to all the times his offers of help had been met with suspicion or fear, the times he'd been treated as if his kindness had a hidden agenda. His father had told him stories of how black men could be accused of all manner of things just for trying to help. And here he was, standing in front of a vulnerable white woman who clearly needed assistance. He hesitated. Should he step in? Or should he walk away and avoid the risk altogether? The weight of history pressed down on him at that moment, making his decision feel like it was about more than just this single act. It was about everything he'd been taught to fear, everything he'd been conditioned to expect. The crowd began to thin. No one else seemed willing to help Sarah, and her distress grew more visible. Jack sighed deeply, feeling the knot of tension in his chest loosen slightly. Something inside him wouldn't let him walk away, even with all the risks involved. Stepping forward, Jack approached her cautiously. "Ma," he said gently, "are you all right? Do you need help?" Sarah blinked, looking at him with wide, teary eyes. For a brief moment, Jack wondered if she would recoil, if she would react with fear or suspicion. But instead, she nodded quickly. "Yes, please. I don't know what to do." Jack's hands moved quickly and assuredly. He helped her sit down on the curb to catch her breath, called emergency services, and stayed by her side as they waited for help to arrive. As they sat there, Sarah started to relax, and they began talking. She told him her name, shared that she was a single mother, and had been on her way to pick up her son. Jack listened quietly, his earlier reservations fading with each word. In the end, help arrived, and Sarah's car was towed away. Before she left, she turned to Jack and said something that stayed with him long after. "I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't helped me. Thank you." It was a simple statement, but it carried weight. Jack realized that for all the pain and mistrust he had experienced, there were moments like this one where humanity could rise above prejudice. He hadn't just helped a white woman, he had helped another human being. And in that act of kindness, something shifted within him. As Jack walked away, he thought about his father again. His father had always said, "Don't let them break you," but Jack understood now that it wasn't just about resilience in the face of hardship. It was also about refusing to let bitterness take root, about choosing empathy over the scars of the past. He went home that evening to his family, feeling lighter than he had in a long time. He didn't know if the world would ever change, but he knew that in that small moment, he had made the choice to be part of the change, and that to him was enough.